Hi, I'm Trey and welcome to one of my colouring tutorials. I'm going to be working on part of a design from the book Dream Horses by Marjorie Sarnat. They're quite detailed designs, so I'll pass on hopefully some of my tips how I deal with those. In this colouring tutorial I'm going to be colouring a butterfly, a detailed butterfly. I'm going to be working on either Dream or Brutfuner pencils in this design, depending on what I decide to use colour wise. So I hope anybody's watching this finds it useful and gets some good hints and tips. Just to give you a full view of the design I'm actually working on. I won't be doing all of this on camera, I'm just going to be doing hopefully this butterfly here. I've just started it really, I just got the horses completed. As you can see, there's lots of detail, and one of the things I find with these books, because they're so nice and so detailed, I have to be careful with my colour palette, and I personally restrict my colour palette and try and create a balance throughout the designs. These are just awesome. So many in here I want to try, and it take quite a long time with them being detailed, but they really are worth the effort. Lovely, lovely artwork. Now for the butterflies in this design, I decided to use a Brutfuner pencils, and I tend to keep notes of what pencils I'm using on each design and the colours and the numbers on them, so I can go back and always make sure I'm using the same colours throughout. Now I use sometimes two different types of pencil on a project when it's detailed like these. So I have different shades of the same colour, and that makes it a little bit more interesting for me, and also gives me more scope for doing things when you have a lot of detail. So I have the purples in the Brutfuner and the purples in the Dream, and they're slightly different shades, so I'll get a different effect. So as I said, I'm doing the Brutfuner for this one, and I'm going to be doing it in purples and yellow for the highlights. So the purples is the number I'm using is 15. Now I have the 120 set and 86. So that's lilac and dark purple, and the yellow I'm using for highlights is 80. But I also may use like more of a neon bright yellow, which is number 1 in this design as well, this little butterfly. Now it's working out what I'm going to be doing with this. It's quite a lot of detail, even though it's only a small section. Got these dots. I've got the outside, so it's almost like a layered effect. So you've got the outside, and then another slightly inner side at the bottom, and then you've got another inner side as well throughout, and then you've got the main body of the butterfly. So there's quite a lot in here. It's deciding what to do each bit for. Now that neon yellow I mentioned, the number 1, I'm going to do all the dots in that, because I want them to stand out from the other yellow. Now it might not show very well on camera because it is quite a bright yellow. Now these points are quite good really. I mean, these are a budget pencil, and the reason why that snapped is because I had it very, very sharp, and I've always found if I do that, the very ends do break. But other than that, these are quite nice pencils. The budget brands are quite good for these kind of designs because there's a lot of detail, and they tend to keep the points better than the softer brands. So I tend to use my budget brands with these designs, detailed designs. Now as per usual, I'm just using a light pressure. It'll need going over a few times, but just to give you an idea where I'm putting my colours. Now that diamond there, I would quite like to do that in the brighter yellow as well. Just put that in there. So I want it to stand out a bit. Okay, so that's where I think my brightest, really bright yellow is going to go. Now I'm going to work out these layers. Now we've got this back layer, and it's almost like a border going all the way around. I'm going to do that in parts of it in dark purple and parts of it in light purple. So I'll do the light purple first, like a lilac colour. And where it's raised, as in bent upwards, I'm going to put the lilac in there. Now I could change this. This is just to see how it's going to work out. And at the bottom part is a slightly different shape. So I'm going to put this lilac on these tips. When I'm doing a design like this, I don't always have a big idea in my head how it's going to go because there's a lot of detail. So I tend to feel my way. I do it lightly so that I can change it, because I tend to find I do change these kind of designs a lot. It kind of develops as it goes along. Now I've got where I think my lightest purple is going to go. I'm going to put in a little bit of the dark purple. Now there's a big difference between the light and the dark. So I might not overlap at this point. I'm going to go around these edges to highlight those a bit, giving it almost like a shadow effect. Now I'm going to go back in with my lilac-y purple. I'm going to overlap into that darker purple. So I'm extending where I originally put the lilac down. And when you're doing something like this is when sharp points come in really handy, because you're looking at quite slim sections, smaller sections, a bit awkward to colour. So a good point is really helpful when you're doing this kind of design. I think you can get an idea how that's going to work, and it's working quite nicely. I'll probably, extend the dark purple a little bit. But obviously that needs more layers. So now I've got an idea how I'm doing the bottom part. Now I'm going up to the next section. Now we've got, at the top, I'm going to concentrate on the top first. We've got these little ridges here, almost like highlights, highlighted bits I would see it, and the curve upwards. So I'm going to use the next palest yellow, which isn't as bright as this one, and highlight those, colour those in. It's more of a subtle yellow. I want to look at the rest of the wings on that section. Now here, I put a dark section around the edge of there, so I want those parts to be lighter as a contrast. So the lilac, that's going to decide how I'm going to be doing the rest of it. So the lilac will go on those edges. Now the rest here, as it goes in towards the middle of, towards the body of the butterfly, I want to do that darker. So I'm just going to put a little bit more lilac on the other side of where the yellow is, extended it downwards, but not going right into towards the body, just part way. Now I'm going to use the dark purple and gently colour this section of the wings, brush strokes towards the lighter sections. And again, I'll probably extend and adapt this just to see how it's working out on both sides. I'm being very gentle with this dark purple because it is quite vibrant. These pencils are quite vibrant. Now I want to come back with my lilac and overlap into the darker purple. Now I'm going to come down to this section here, and I want it to kind of mirror what's happening at the top. Again, now at this section here, this is in lilac, so I want that part to be a different colour to that lilac. So I want it to be darker, so I'm going to put in the darker section at the end of these scalloped shaped sections of the wings. as I've done at the top, I'm going to put the dark purple close to the body of the butterfly, in between these other sections. Now I'm going to use the lilac, but I'm just going to do it, overlap it slightly. I'm going to leave a section white for now. And now I'm going to use that pale yellow that I used in this section of the butterfly and do a highlight with that in between the purple I put down. That makes that look quite different, but it is a different shape to the top. Now I've got two sections here at the top that I want to add some colour, but I don't want them both the same colour. Now I've already got the bright yellow dots there, so I want that to be purple. But the one underneath I'm going to be doing in the pale yellow. And now I'm going to be doing purple, well, the lilac-y purple in these sections around these bright yellow dots. Now when I'm planning these kind of things, I see how it's working. That's why I do it in parts, and then I can adjust as I go along for the best effect. And now I feel that I want to put some darker purple in. Start off on close to the body, make that darker. And then it's almost like I'm just going to put a little line along there with a darker purple. This gives it a little bit of depth. Sorry, I'll just have to turn this because it's a little bit awkward to do a line straight on. And now that looks quite effective. I kind of like that effect. Now we've got the body left and these sections here. Now I've got a little bit of an idea to do them the same as those sections I did there, so we'll do it slightly different. I'm going to put the highlight as a lilac in the middle of each of those sections. And then I'm going to put the purple, the dark purple, on the ends to give it a beveled effect. So, and this will need extended again because I'll probably need to extend the lilac. The lilac purple again, I'll just extend and overlap a little bit for these sections. I try to make each layer look slightly different, but still working with all the other layers and with the colours I'm using. Now we've got the body, and I want to put a little bit of a highlight on the head, so I'm going to put in a pale yellow, as a palish yellow I'm using, a little bit of highlight there, and go around that with the lilac. This gives that a little bit of depth. And round the diamond bright yellow section, I'm going to use the lilac again. I'm going to use the dark purple and just go around that diamond. It's almost like a shadow, just on one side, and round the head, just on the edges. Now that's all these layers done, the first layers, where all those colours are going to go. And I'm going to be repeating all of that a few times to build it up. But it's quite a lot to do on camera, so I'm not going to do it all on camera. I'm going to do the layers off camera and then come back to this. Now I'll put about 3 layers of each of those colours down again, and these budget pencils are actually quite pigmented, so I didn't feel the need to put any more than that down. One thing I did notice is I really did need to use a sharp pencil so it wouldn't go into different areas. Now I've done a little bit of a blend on one side, and again I'm using a sharpish pencil from a blending. Just gentle low with the blending, light pressure. And I'm starting in the lilac and staying out of the dark purple for now, because I don't want to drag that dark purple too much into the lilac. It's been an interesting little exercise, this. Quite relaxing. I do like these designs for being quite relaxing. one of the reasons I do arts and crafts is to focus and relax my mind, because of the fact that I'm dealing with mental health problems, as in I suffer from complex trauma. I always leave a link to my Facebook page, which is slightly, it's separate from the charity page that this is posted on for their YouTube. And I do touch on the kind of things that I do to help with my mental health and coping with a lifelong suffering of trauma. A lot of it's arts and crafts, card making especially, and colouring, but also photography, a little bit of personal photography, sorry. And also dealing with things in life, day-to-day things, and I can cope with those as well. So I do hope that people come along to the Facebook page and check it out and see if there's anything of interest for you there. You don't have to be suffering from trauma to find it useful. Just any mental health problems. All the ideas I have works for that as well. So now I'm going into the darker sections, just pulling it a little bit into the lilac. I've done this side earlier, so I don't need to do that again. And that is that butterfly finished. I really like that. I think how I've planned it has worked really nice and highlighted certain sections, give it a little bit of depth. So that is probably how I'm going to do all of the butterflies in this design. There's quite a few, and I'm going to be sticking with the same colour themes as well for all the butterflies, and use the other purple I want to use with the cadmium probably on the flowers. Hope that people have found this interesting and got some instant tips. Once I get this project finished, which will take some time, it always does with these detailed ones, I will post it up on my Facebook page completed. So I'll say bye for now, and I'll see you again in the near future with a different tutorial.